Let's go!
What do we have here? Took the time to fill out the survey. In this volume, we'd like to address the feedback we received as release date approaches. Oh man, that last beta though. That last beta. They revealed information about the player match and mission mode. They provide some additional information here. To explain player match more simply, oh, come on, dude. It lets you create and play matches where you can freely change the regulations, of course. You can play with your friends by setting an ID and use them for tournaments. Up to 9 players can enter each room, so you can have up to 8 players in a tournament at one time, along with the organizer. Oh, that's kind of nice consideration. We've included a variety of features such as spectating and lining up for the next match. You can even wait for an opponent while in training mode, something that innovated in prior titles. Was actually stuff that was there before, except the training mode feature. The cute little arcade rooms, you know. There is also an online training mode where you can practice with a friend without worrying about time limits. That's kind of neat. I think online training modes are about to become, you know, or slowly becoming the norm, you know, in fighting games. This is cool. Giovanna matchup tutorial. Yeah, this is great. This is kind of like the stuff that was in Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, where they can teach you how to fight against certain enemies, you know? Next, I would like to discuss mission mode, where you can learn various techniques for strive in fighting games in general. We aim to show new players that it's possible to enjoy fighting games without knowing about the battle mechanics by opting not to include explanation. Oh god, I have to read this again. We wanted to show new players that it is possible to enjoy fighting games without knowing about the battle mechanics by opting to not include explanations of the mechanics in the tutorial mode and by reworking the matching system. Okay, so this is the very weird take that they had God knows how long, like 6 months ago or something like that. Like the ridiculous, like, wait, you're teaching people by not teaching people? However, we would recommend players who want to improve and get stronger to play mission mode. There are over 120 missions between explanations of mechanics, techniques, combos, counter strategies for individual characters. The missions are divided by difficulty level, so there's no need to try clearing all of them at once. The mode is great for when you feel you've run into a wall during your matches or when you don't know what to practice next. Next, we want to respond to the feedback. Well, that's good, right? The nice part is that there is at least going to be, you know, mission mode that is going to teach you how to use your character, much less fight against other characters. None of what they said before and what they say after makes any sense, but you know what? That's actually very cool. They teach about fuzzies and shit. Well, let's hope they teach about fuzzies. Let's hope they teach about, you know, there was a throw option select that they taught in Guilty Gear Xrd sign. I remember that. I'm sure they'll have a bunch of that stuff in there. Weird part is that they did wait in previous Guilty Gears to teach players matchup stuff because the game had not been played by enough people yet, and they were like, well, we don't know all the matchup information. But I guess the game and the characters are boiled down to, you know, a sinew that they understand about how every character works now. And they're like, hey, so here's how you fight against this character. We know what you're going to be doing if you play this character, because there's obviously way less you can do with the characters in this game. So here is what you do to fight against Giovanna. Here's how you fight against like Kai and stuff like that. That's what it comes across to me, that they have a pretty good idea. Yes, here's Gunflame, Roman cancel command grab, you know, stuff like that. Improvements to the lobby. We changed the matchmaking system for online matches to be using duel stations and added a rematch feature. This greatly improved the tempo of matchmaking, but there were still issues such as connectivity errors. Oh, were they? We are making final fixes to these leading up to release. So the stations didn't really matter. At least from what I remember, the stations really didn't do anything that assisted in getting players together faster. They separated people more, and that was about it. In fact, when you would fight too many people at one station, it would just break. Yes, I hope that gets fixed. Well, rematching is very nice. The fact that we couldn't rematch before is kind of funny. We're putting all of our effort into providing the best possible online environment by the release date. As major changes to the system can be implemented in time, we are currently focusing on fixing bugs. Improvements to the features and other changes will be made after release in the form of free updates. Okay. All right. Adjustments to battle balance. Ooh. As jumping was extremely strong during the first open beta, we mainly adjusted aerial options for this test. For anyone remembers, backwards air dashing was super nerfed. The recovery on the ground after attacks from a jump attack was very much increased. And overall, like, jumping forward and jumping back just felt a little less. It felt like they just nerfed everybody's mobility, so it didn't feel good. I don't know if there's anybody that could say that, oh, I really enjoyed the less mobility in beta 2. They went so aggressively against this jumping thing, and they probably went about it in the weirdest way possible. It was our first time attempting to implement such extreme balance changes, such as decreasing the movement arc of jumps and adding landing recovery before release, but we're able to get extremely useful data thanks to this, paired with that from the first test. So they removed jumping completely. Yeah, they just took it out. If there's one way to not have the players of either side that like the grounded footsies, and they're just going to remove jumping. Cool. I like it. I think that's what I wanted them to do, and that's what they're doing. No jumps. They're also going to remove all the attack buttons and only make the game directional inputs. After considering a variety of factors, such as the game concept, battle balance, and how fun it is to play in an action game, we are making final adjustments in the direction of increasing the movement arcs while retaining the landing recovery on aerial attacks and double jumps for the final game. That sounds like a good change. I don't think anyone minds the fact that the lack of trip guard being that big of a deal, right? If you're attacking in the air and then you hit the ground after an attack and you can get punished for it, that's fine. Sure. If you whiff that shit, that makes a lot of sense. But, you know, Guilty Gear's always been a game about aerial mobility in many ways. Unless you are Potemkin. We are also working on adjustments for the other game elements, such as the tension gauge, increasing for different situations, increased number of plus frames on some counter hits, and the cancel window for Gatling combos, minor changes to the combo rules, and individual balance changes for all the characters. Look forward to the release date experience. All this stuff sounds good. Tension gauge increase, that sounds great, right? More tension gauge, more crazy stuff that can happen. Really cool, I like it. But minor changes to the combo rules, to me, seems like it might come across as historically combos getting nerfed. Right? That definitely could be Saul can no longer do 5K into 6S. That's what that comes across as. That's a combo rule that they were sort of allowing, that some characters could go into their command normals. That scares me. That genuinely scares me, considering what has happened over the past couple of betas. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a pleasant surprise, and by the time that first game's launch date is out, maybe it'll be completely different, right? Maybe Gatlings will actually be a little bit more open-ended. However, I can tell you guys that based on almost any other fighting game where it's had multiple betas up until the version of the launch version, there has never been a situation where minor changes to game elements usually lead to more opportunities instead of less. Considering everything that's happened to fighting games over the past 5 years, and every time there is a beta for something, I'm not confident about this being a buff, but I really hope it is. I really hope this just ends up being, I mean, you know, every character can cancel into some command normals from almost like any button. That'd be cool. That'd open up things quite a bit. But this really comes across minor changes to combo rules, just nerf Saul. That's it for the Developer Backyard. We're planning on continuing this project after the game's release. As a result of our busy schedules, we feel recent Developer Backyard volumes have been a little one-sided. We were able to share our development intent on future plans, but we're hoping to put more of an emphasis on creating a dialogue between us and the players moving forward. That's great. That's actually incredibly cool. 7:15 in the morning on Sunday. Fuck. Dang. Okay, well, I guess I'll be checking that out a bit later. I'm not really interested in any of the story mode stuff. There has been some mention of DLC characters, but I don't know if they're ready to show off anything yet, you know? But I wouldn't be surprised, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually active and ready for more DLC stuff, or ready to do DLC stuff, like right off the bat. Too soon to show off DLC? They've already announced DLC. The game did just get delayed 3 months. Maybe, yeah, I did hear stuff about a roadmap of some kind. To me, the craziest thing with this game, and possibly the thing that could absolutely flip Guilty Gear Strive on its head, and suddenly it's like, yo, what is this game? What is going on? Is the tag mode. They actually specifically addressed the tag mode, and they were like, yeah, it's not going to be there at launch, but we're working on a tag mode for the game. And they're like, we're putting it in the game later. What? Huh? So that thing that they showed off in one of the videos very early on of Kai coming out and doing a move while Saul was on screen, they said was specifically going to be single player content stuff, right? Like arcade mode stuff. It was probably one of the most striking things you had seen in the game, which was 3 characters on screen in a Guilty Gear game. It was like, wait, what? But they were saying that is not going to be available at launch, like the mode itself. There might be, yeah, an actual roadmap with a tag team mode of some kind. Holy shit.